In a world that constantly demands more from women, expectations, pressures, and judgments, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. But what if there was a way to navigate life's challenges with calm, clarity, and resilience? Enter Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that teaches us to focus on what we can control, and let go of the rest. It's not about suppressing emotions, it's about mastering them. Stoicism empowers women to embrace their full potential, not by changing the world around them, but by changing how they respond to it. By embracing Stoic virtues like wisdom, courage, and self-discipline, women can find inner peace, rise above societal pressures, and live a life of purpose, on their own terms. Join us as we explore how Stoicism can transform your life and help you become the best version of yourself, powerful, calm, and unshaken. 1. Stoicism is an ancient philosophy founded in Athens around 300 BCE by Zeno of Citium. At its core, Stoicism emphasizes virtue, reason, and living in harmony with nature. Its teachings were based on the idea that individuals should focus on what is within their control, mainly their own thoughts, attitudes, and actions, while accepting what they cannot control, like external events or the actions of others. Despite its long history, Stoicism has made a significant resurgence in modern times, thanks in part to its applicability to contemporary life. Stoic practices have been embraced by people seeking to cultivate emotional resilience, improve their mental clarity, and create a more purposeful existence. Its principles are relevant to all areas of life, including personal development, relationships, and dealing with adversity. In the context of women, Stoicism offers insights into how to maintain balance and self-control in the face of societal pressures, emotional challenges, and personal growth. However, understanding how Stoicism interacts with gender-specific experiences requires a deeper dive. Historically, Stoic philosophy has been critiqued for not directly addressing the role of women in society. Yet, through the lens of Stoicism, women can find empowering tools for dealing with the challenges of modern life while remaining true to themselves and their values. 2. The basics of Stoic philosophy. Stoicism is built on a few key principles that can be applied universally, regardless of gender. The central tenets of Stoicism revolve around the development of virtue, the importance of reason, and the cultivation of a mindset that focuses on what one can control. Some of the primary ideas in Stoicism include the dichotomy of control. One of the most foundational ideas in Stoicism is the understanding of what is and isn't within our control. Stoics divide experiences into things we can control, our thoughts, actions, and reactions, and things we cannot control, external events, other people's actions, the past, and the future. According to Stoicism, the only true source of freedom and peace lies in focusing on what we can control and accepting what we cannot. Virtue as the highest good. For Stoics, virtue, living a life of moral excellence, is the only true good. Virtue includes wisdom, understanding in making sound decisions, courage, facing adversity without fear, justice, acting fairly toward others, and temperance, practicing self-control. These are the qualities that the Stoic strives to embody in all areas of life, which helps develop a character that is resilient and wise. Living in accordance with nature. Stoics believe that to live a fulfilling life, one must live in accordance with nature. This means aligning oneself with reason, which is the most divine aspect of human nature. To live in harmony with nature, the Stoic strives for self-mastery, resilience, and virtuous living. These core ideas are not inherently gendered, and in many ways, Stoicism offers women a framework for developing emotional resilience and mastering their internal world. 3. Stoicism and gender roles, historical perspective. The ancient Stoic worldview did not explicitly define roles for men and women in a strict way, but it was heavily shaped by the patriarchal societies of ancient Greece and Rome. The philosophical texts written by Stoics like Epictetus, Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius largely reflect the norms and gender dynamics of their time, where women were often viewed through the lens of domesticity and subordination. Women in Stoic thought, Although Stoic philosophers did not elaborate extensively on women's roles, they believed that all human beings, regardless of gender, possessed the capacity for reason and virtue. For Stoics, the ability to live according to nature and cultivate virtues such as wisdom and justice wasn't dependent on one's sex. In fact, some Stoic philosophers, like Musonius Rufus, argued that women could and should practice Stoicism just as men did. Musonius notably stated that women had the same capacity for reason and virtue as men, and therefore, could benefit from Stoic teachings. However, this idealistic view was not always reflected in the societal reality of ancient Rome and Greece, where women's social roles were often confined to the household. Despite this, Stoic teachings on the importance of virtue and rationality offered women a way to transcend the limitations of their social circumstances. The core message of Stoicism, self-mastery, resilience, and ethical living, remained a pathway for empowerment. Contributions of women to Stoicism. While women's direct contributions to ancient Stoic philosophy are often overlooked, historical figures such as Hypatia of Alexandria, a philosopher and mathematician, and the Roman philosopher and Stoic thinker, Portia Catonis, who was known for her philosophical writings, embodied Stoic principles in their lives. These women were exceptions, but they demonstrate that Stoic philosophy was not inherently opposed to women pursuing intellectual and philosophical goals. Gender equality in Stoicism. Despite the patriarchal context, the Stoic worldview suggests a form of gender equality in the philosophical sense. The Stoics believed that rationality and virtue were universally available to all human beings, not just men. This means that women, theoretically, had the same potential as men to live a virtuous life and embody the Stoic virtues. Thus, the Stoic conception of human nature, though rooted in a specific historical context, opened the door to a more inclusive understanding of women's potential in philosophy and society. 4. The Stoic approach to emotions and relationships. One of the primary misconceptions about Stoicism is that it advocates for the suppression of emotions or emotional detachment. However, Stoicism actually teaches the development of emotional resilience, not the elimination of emotions. Stoics recognize that emotions arise from judgments we make about external events, but they also believe that we can change the way we react to those emotions by changing our judgments. The role of emotions in Stoicism. In Stoicism, emotions like anger, fear, and jealousy are seen as irrational responses to things that are beyond our control. Stoics argue that these emotions are harmful because they often lead to unhealthy attachments or reactions to things that do not align with virtue. The Stoic approach is not to suppress emotions, but to cultivate wisdom to navigate them in a way that leads to tranquility. For women, this can be particularly empowering, as society often pressures women to respond emotionally to external circumstances or to be overly attached to certain outcomes. For instance, when faced with challenges in romantic relationships, Stoicism teaches that a woman should not let emotional turmoil dictate her actions. Instead, she can practice detachment, accepting the impermanence of all things and focusing on what is within her control. She may experience emotions, but through mindfulness and rational reflection, she can learn not to be dominated by them. Navigating romantic relationships with Stoicism. The principles of Stoicism are highly applicable in the realm of romantic relationships. Stoicism encourages the cultivation of inner peace and self-reliance, which can help women navigate love, desire, and attachment. Rather than seeking fulfillment through another person or allowing oneself to become emotionally enmeshed, Stoicism teaches that one should find contentment within. In romantic relationships, this does not mean withdrawing from love or companionship, but rather developing an understanding that external factors, like the behavior of a partner, are outside of one's control. For example, if a woman faces a breakup or a period of emotional uncertainty, she can practice Stoic mindfulness by focusing on the things she can control, her reaction, her growth, and her ability to learn from the experience. By reframing the situation and accepting what cannot be changed, she can maintain her sense of peace and personal dignity, avoiding excessive attachment to fleeting emotional states. Stoic approaches to detachment and attachment. In Stoic philosophy, attachment to external things is seen as a source of suffering. This can be particularly relevant for women, who may feel social pressure to attach their worth to romantic relationships, family roles, or societal expectations. Stoicism teaches that while relationships are valuable, they should not define one's happiness or self-worth. The Stoic approach encourages cultivating a sense of autonomy and self-sufficiency, where the individual is not overly dependent on external approval or validation. However, this detachment is not to be confused with coldness or emotional distance. Stoics do not advocate for apathy but rather for a balanced approach to relationships, where one is able to give and receive love without being excessively attached to specific outcomes. 5. Stoicism and Feminism, Intersectionality and Critique. In recent decades, feminist thinkers have critically engaged with Stoicism. On one hand, Stoicism's emphasis on rationality, emotional regulation, and self-discipline offers tools for personal empowerment that can resonate with feminist ideals. On the other hand, Stoicism was developed in a patriarchal context that often excluded or marginalized women's voices and experiences. Complementing feminist philosophies, some feminist scholars have found Stoicism to be a useful framework for challenging societal norms and expectations. For example, Stoicism's emphasis on virtue and inner freedom can be a powerful antidote to the external pressures placed on women to conform to narrow definitions of beauty, success, or behavior. By focusing on cultivating inner strength and virtue rather than external validation, Stoicism provides a way for women to reclaim their autonomy and live authentically. Critiques of Stoicism from feminist perspectives. However, some feminist critiques argue that Stoicism's emphasis on detachment and emotional regulation can inadvertently downplay the lived experiences of women who face unique emotional and social challenges. Feminist theorists might argue that Stoicism's ideal of emotional detachment could be seen as dismissive of the emotional labor that women often perform in society or as a way of sidestepping real issues like gender inequality and oppression. Nonetheless, modern Stoics who are women, including contemporary figures like Massimo Pigliucci's wife, or individuals in the modern Stoic community, continue to adapt Stoicism in ways that acknowledge both its empowering aspects and its limitations within a feminist context. 6. Practical applications of Stoicism for women. One of the greatest strengths of Stoicism is its practical nature. It's not just a theoretical philosophy but a way of living. For women, this can translate into applying Stoic principles to navigate daily challenges and foster personal growth. In a world that often imposes conflicting expectations on women, Stoicism can provide a framework for maintaining inner peace, cultivating resilience, and asserting personal agency. Using Stoicism to navigate personal challenges, Stoicism teaches that life will inevitably bring obstacles, whether they are personal setbacks, professional struggles, or social expectations. Instead of viewing these challenges as insurmountable or as sources of despair, Stoicism encourages women to approach them with equanimity and resilience. When faced with difficult situations, like a challenging work environment, family dynamics, or personal doubts, Stoics would recommend focusing on what is within one's control. For example, if a woman faces workplace inequality or gender bias, Stoicism doesn't ignore the injustice, but it encourages a rational response. The Stoic approach would emphasize the importance of focusing on one's behavior and reactions, treating others with justice, maintaining one's composure, and striving to act in alignment with virtue. The external circumstance, such as being treated unfairly, may be outside of her control, but her response, how she chooses to act, think, and feel, is something she can control. Stoicism helps transform obstacles into opportunities for self-improvement and wisdom. Cultivating resilience in the face of social pressure, women are often faced with societal pressures, ranging from expectations around body image to career choices, relationships, and motherhood. These pressures can create stress, anxiety, and self-doubt. Stoicism offers a remedy by promoting resilience and inner strength. The philosophy encourages women to define their own standards of worth and to avoid basing their self-esteem on external validation. For instance, in today's culture of beauty standards and social media comparisons, Stoicism teaches that women do not need to measure their worth by their appearance or by others' opinions. Instead, women can focus on cultivating inner beauty, virtue, wisdom, and integrity. They can practice self-acceptance by reminding themselves that their value is not defined by fleeting trends or superficial judgments. Mental health and self-esteem. Another important area where Stoicism can be beneficial is in improving mental health and boosting self-esteem. For many women, mental health struggles, such as anxiety, depression, and imposter syndrome, can be exacerbated by societal expectations and the pressure to meet impossible standards. Stoicism teaches women to develop a healthy detachment from negative emotions and judgments, which can help in reducing the grip of anxiety and worry. For example, Stoic practices like negative visualization, the idea of imagining worst-case scenarios to desensitize oneself to fear, can help women reframe their fears and anxieties. By acknowledging the impermanence of all things and accepting that pain and difficulty are part of life, Stoicism provides tools to develop a more balanced and resilient mindset. 7. The Stoic woman's role in society. Stoicism provides a profound philosophical framework for women to take active roles in society, whether in leadership, community, or the workplace. The Stoic virtues, wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, can guide women in stepping up as leaders, advocates for justice, and pillars of their communities. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of living in harmony with nature, which means living in accordance with one's rational and virtuous nature, regardless of external social norms. Women in leadership. The Stoic philosophy holds that everyone, regardless of gender, is capable of leading a virtuous life and taking leadership roles. In the modern world, where women have increasingly entered leadership positions in various sectors, Stoicism offers them tools to lead with resilience and integrity. Whether in politics, business, or social movements, Stoic principles of justice, fairness, and rational decision-making can guide women to lead with wisdom and moral clarity. Stoic women leaders can draw on the teachings of figures like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus to lead with courage and composure, even in the face of adversity. They can practice self-discipline in managing their emotions and avoid being swayed by the often chaotic and unpredictable nature of leadership. The Stoic idea of focusing on what is within one's control allows women leaders to remain focused on what they can accomplish, rather than becoming overwhelmed by external factors. Overcoming social barriers. Women have historically faced many barriers to social participation, whether due to patriarchal structures, lack of educational opportunities, or restrictions on political rights. In today's world, while significant progress has been made, women still encounter many challenges, ranging from gender-based violence to workplace discrimination. Stoicism empowers women to take action and overcome these barriers through strength of character and inner resolve. The Stoic teachings on justice provide a moral compass for women who wish to advocate for equality and fairness in society. By acting in alignment with virtue and confronting injustice head-on with wisdom and courage, Stoic women can contribute meaningfully to social change and push for a more equitable world. For example, in the workplace, Stoicism can help women face gender bias or discrimination with dignity and composure. It teaches that while they cannot control others' behavior, they can control their response, maintaining professionalism, developing their skills, and advocating for themselves and others in ways that are consistent with Stoic virtues. Stoicism in the workplace. In the modern workplace, women often encounter challenges that can test their resilience, whether it's balancing work and family, overcoming gender bias, or striving to be taken seriously in male-dominated fields. Stoicism offers a way for women to navigate these challenges with poise and mental clarity. For example, when faced with career setbacks or unfair treatment, a Stoic woman would focus on how she can improve herself, whether through gaining new skills, seeking constructive feedback, or maintaining a positive attitude. She would avoid being consumed by frustration or resentment, as these emotions only hinder progress. Instead, she would adopt a mindset of continuous growth and self-improvement, making her less vulnerable to external negativity. 8. Challenges for women in adopting Stoicism. Despite the many benefits Stoicism offers, women may encounter specific challenges in adopting this philosophy, particularly because Stoicism has historically been dominated by male voices and perspectives. Furthermore, the societal expectations placed on women can sometimes be at odds with Stoic principles of detachment and emotional control. Cultural and societal obstacles. Many women are socialized to be more emotionally expressive and nurturing, which can seem in conflict with the Stoic ideal of emotional detachment. While Stoicism does not advocate for the suppression of emotions, its emphasis on regulating and not being ruled by them may feel counterintuitive to societal expectations for women to express their emotions freely. Moreover, women often face additional pressure to be self-sacrificing and overly concerned with the needs of others, which can make it challenging to prioritize their own well-being and personal growth. Stoicism encourages women to strike a balance between caring for others and maintaining their own inner peace and autonomy, which may require challenging cultural norms and asserting boundaries. Misconceptions about Stoicism. Another barrier women might face in adopting Stoicism